the lowest performers of 2020. They have degrown the most.
We don't mean to laugh. We're laughing because these are the cars that did not do great, but they are great cars.
You have a negative 77% when it comes to growth.
It's too heartbreaking for me to talk about. Mainly because this has been my favorite car since childhood.
Hi and welcome. This is Garage 101 on Chennai Live. My name is Vignesh from TryCarPal.com and I'm joined by Rajiv.
Hi, my name is Rajiv from CarGreetings.com and we are India's first automotive digital greetings. So if you are a dealer and you're watching this, head to our website CarGreetings.com and we have the right solution to keep your customers super happy. I'm sorry I had to say that.
No worries. So this episode, so we're going to be talking about the lowest performers of 2020. Now, if you haven't heard or seen our previous episode, I would recommend you watch that also because you can get a little more of context. So we earlier spoke about the best performers of 2020, and just to bring it back again, we spoke about a bunch of cars. You should check it out. Actually, quite surprising. And we spoke about cars that were launched in 2019 and have transitioned to 2020. So
and it's the same thing.
Yeah, same thing here. So we haven't exactly taken into record the 2020 launched cars because we have to see how they perform for another year.
Yeah.
Right?
And keep in mind, the low performing cars doesn't mean that the cars are not good.
Exactly. They have just
cars are
degrown.
Great cars.
They have just degrown when it comes to the numbers.
They degrown when it comes to the numbers, right? But they're great cars in their own sense, right?
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to number 5, which I will not get into right now. But
I would say number 6, Rajay, because we have expanded
number 6 is disappointing, but number 5 is
I think number 6 is understanding.
Me, right?
Anyway, so I think let's start this off
with number 1
with a good product, in my opinion, very well space engineered.
Yeah.
Number 6 is a Renault Tribor. Right? The Tribor saw a small bump in production, right? So we're looking at a 21% drop in production when it comes to 2019 figures, and it's sort of understandable because BS4, BS6, you had that complication as well. And of course, COVID. So you're looking at some sort of disturbance in production here and there. But having said that, the Tribor, I am actually surprised about the car, right? It's a lot of space, and I think Renault sort of made this whole MUV space a sub-segment, right? So
absolutely,
the Tribor is now the most affordable MUV.
And the best part about the Tribor is, I remember the first time it was launched, on the first day I went to the showroom just to see this, simply because they said that for this price, you're getting a how many seater? A 7-seater.
Yeah.
And I went there and they put those seats, you can remove the seats.
Yeah, 7-seater becomes a 5-seater if you want.
Yeah, if you want. And I don't know what you'll do with the other 2 seats, but hopefully you'll carry it with you.
That's in your garage, man. You can always
probably, yes. But the thing is, first of all, if it's a 7-seater, you don't have any space for luggage.
True.
Okay? But you can carry 7 people if you're going, let's say, for a party. But on the last row, the amount of space it has.
Surprising.
Very surprising.
Usually
I'm 5'10", and I had enough of knee room.
That's perfect. Beautiful.
When we
disappointments about the Tribor, so 1 liter naturally aspirated engine. So if you're going to have 7 people in the car, it's going to struggle a little bit.
Yes. And I know if you're watching this, you know what to do. Bring in the turbos, and
it's going to come soon. It's going to come soon. Watch out for a turbo.
I want to tell you the numbers. Now, for the Tribor, which we might call a mini MUV,
correct,
right? So minus 21% degrowth.
Yeah.
Which is we had into 2019, it sold 6,150 numbers
on an average, right?
On an average, monthly average. Okay, so and then in this year,
it's 4,500. Right?
4,500. Now we can't entirely blame it on the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because if you saw our previous episode, and if you haven't seen it, go back and watch that. You had seen huge growth in certain cars. So we just can't bring in the pandemic here. All we can bring in is, like you said, could be a lower engine just with a 1 liter naturally
I think there are a lot of factors that sort of disturb production, right? It could even be the priority for exports. It could be priority for another model altogether.
Yeah.
But for Renault, I would say the bread and butter for today is the Triber, and that 21% growth is going to affect Renault a little bit because the Kwid doesn't sell as much, right? The Triber is its own king over there.
Absolutely.
Right?
So you have to understand one thing, Triber and the next one we're going to talk about are all brand new cars. They have not been tested before and still they sold great numbers.
True.
Which leads us to the next one.
Next one is a little bit of a surprise for all of you guys.
Yes,
because
it was for me.
Yeah, so this is in fact the Kia Celtos, right? The Kia Celtos over this 1 year has degrown when it comes to production, right? And there are a bunch of reasons that surround it that sort of give you an effect when it comes to number of sales.
And it's got quite a few variants, right? I mean,
bunch of variants again, right? A lot of variants.
Different engines even.
Different engines. There are 4 powertrain options, but yeah, let's not get into that because then it becomes a whole new conversation, right? The Celtos degrew, right? And understandably so because Kia's new baby, the Sonet, is doing phenomenally well, right? It's now Kia Sonet is one of the most performing, compact SUVs that you can find in the market right now, and therefore, just because of the demand that it has created, the Celtos took a backseat.
And what
when
would
it
you
comes to
say,
production.
off the top of your head, what is the price difference between the Celtos and the Sonet?
If you're comparing the top end variants, then you're looking at a significant. If you're looking at equivalents, like if you're looking at something like a GTX Plus variants, right, of the Sonet and the Celtos, you're looking at a considerable 4 to 5 lakh of difference, right, depending on petrol or diesel.
Okay.
Right, but there is a good overlap between Sonet top end and the Celtos, mid variants.
If you're ready to compromise, on the features and
you either compromise on features or you compromise on space, right? That's it's a two-way street.
But so far the ratings for the Sonet has been great. But then this episode sadly we're talking about the ones that are not performing great.
Correct.
And that is the Celtos, and I think with the numbers,
it's understandably so, Rajiv. I mean, I think it's just a temporary phase for the Celtos.
What I couldn't believe is that Kia last year is when they brought out the Celtos, the amount of
hype they created,
the hope they had, and the hype they gave in terms of the numbers. I'm talking. We're all talking numbers here. That's what the state of the trade is about, right? But what do we have for the numbers here in 2019?
In 2019, Kia was doing. Celtos was doing. Celtos, we saw over 14,000 units on an average month on month, and now it's come down to just over 9,000.
9,200.
It's gone through a bit of a reduction when it comes to sales.
Which is minus 31% degrowth. Which is fine because Kia knows. I'm pretty sure Kia knows what they're doing, and I'm waiting for the Rio.
I think.
Do you have any idea when the Rio is coming out? By the way,
I'm not sure, but I think Kia would ride the SUV wave till it dies. Right?
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm fairly sure. Right. Okay. So the next car, Rajiv. So again, interesting because the first one was a MUV. Second one is a SUV, and we are going back to an MUV, right? Yeah. The third one in our list is the Innova Crysta. The Innova Crysta degrew around 32%, just like the Celtos, and a lot of factors contributing to it. I think COVID hit Toyota the most when it comes to production. Innova again is the bread and butter for Toyota at the moment because that's the. I mean, when you think of Toyota, you think of Innova first, right? That's how it goes.
Sometimes I think that bringing out such an advanced Innova, why couldn't they keep the original Innova? I call it the original Innova. Because were the sales dropping so much for them to bring in something at a price point of more than 5 lakhs?
No, but I'm serious. Toyota has the longest shelf life. For example, I'm not talking about reliability. I'm talking about just the version management, right? Innova to Innova Crysta took almost 11 years. 11 years. Another contributing factor to this, now you have a new Innova Crysta, right? So you're likely to see some sort of tapering down of the older Innova Crysta to sort of accommodate for the new Innova Crysta. There could be
that's already launched in December.
That's already launched. It's already launched in November, so you'll have.
That's a facelift.
It's a facelift again.
Okay.
Finally, you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support in the touchscreens, but we'll come to that later.
Right. So let me just tell you before we leave the Crysta behind. It's a minus 32% growth.
Correct.
With 2019 seeing, and they didn't sell great, with 2019 seeing 3,414 cars average monthly and average of 2020. You want to go for it?
It's around 2,190. Right, so you're looking at a 32% drop when it comes
Which
to...
is okay because, when you look at it, we are not talking numbers like we spoke about in the last episode. If you're wondering, go watch that because you'll have to see those numbers are great. They're kind of crazy, okay?
Right.
Which leads us to...
another SUV. So we're doing a combination of NUV, SUV, and then finally back to a SUV.
Yeah.
And this SUV is in fact a famous SUV, right?
It is.
This is the Maruti Brezza, right? The Maruti Brezza saw a drop of 35%, right? Because in 2019 we were selling over 12,000 units, and now we are down in 2020 on an average of 7,800 units.
Yeah.
And I feel these numbers are still great. 7,800 units is still great because the Brezza didn't have. Also, Maruti moved away from diesels altogether. Right. The Brezza was a diesel exclusive vehicle, 1.3 liter Fiat sourced multi-jet diesel, 90 horsepower, great engine in fact. They phased it out, and now it took some time for Maruti to bring out the petrol Brezza.
Petrol variant.
And that launched only, I think, toward the second half of this year. So having taken that hit of,
and also you must understand that it did take a beating on the urban cruiser front also. With the Toyota urban cruiser, many people say, you know what, let me get a Toyota instead of a Maruti, which gives me a little more higher standards with the exact same car, which is called the urban cruiser, correct?
Exactly.
And so yes, this is the one car I'm going to give a pass to. You know why? Because
I think it's excusable, right?
You're excused. Maruti
few
Brezza.
Months of zero and you're up to 7,800 units on an average.
Which is very decent.
Which is pretty good, right? But again, numbers speak. So year on year, 2019-2020, you're looking at a 35% degrowth, right? Yeah. And I think the next car.
I don't think we should talk about it. I don't think we should talk about it.
Should be Rajiv's
it's too heartbreaking for me to talk
of this car.
It's too heartbreaking for me to talk about. Mainly because it's been my favorite car since childhood. Yeah. Okay. And I'm pretty sure it has been a lot of. I mean, first of all, it's one of those global brands.
True.
You've heard of the Accord. Everybody around the world knows the Accord. The Camry, everybody around the world knows. The Civic, we have to talk about it, no?
Yeah, I think you should talk about it, Raja. So I think you should take it out of your system. Right?
Sadly, because it's not about, what worries me is the amount of percentage of degrowth.
Correct.
Which is minus 61%. And that's not good. Let me give you the numbers here. 2019, 375.
On an average, month on
average, right? And in 2020, 143. But if you ask me, that's a great car you guys really have to go check out because Honda just is stepping on all the
wrong
all the sharp stones maybe, I don't know. But they have to, please keep this car. Okay, Honda, if you're watching, keep this car in your stable. It's going to pick up, I'm sure. But why did it? Why do you think?
I think, Rajiv, if you look at the segment, if you look at the whole industry, it's called the D segment, D for Delhi, D segment of vehicles. That segment has always been called the dying segment because sedans have taken a beating all over the world, right? So you have SUVs growing all over the world, and therefore that would trickle down to India at some point or the other. It's already happening, right? So the preference of sedans has been consistently dropping. If you look at the Civic's competition right now, you have only one more car, the Elantra. There's no Octavia. There's no
Octavia, and it's coming soon.
It's coming soon, but not yet, right?
Well, this gives us the understanding that sedans overall, especially the D segment.
Even if you look at the last episode, Raji, we had only one sedan being mentioned.
Yes.
Right? Only one sedan. So therefore, in general, like you said, sedans have taken a low preference. I feel, across segments.
It has. I mean, they want more ground clearance and all of that. I mean, Civic has a bad reputation of the ground clearance.
Yeah, but I think overall there are some misses when it comes to Civic. Right? There's only a petrol auto. There's no petrol manual. There's no diesel auto. There's only diesel manual. And the diesel manual launched only in 2020. Right. So I think that way Civic deprioritized the whole thing. Honda deprioritized.
And I hope they pick it up. But it's sad to see this result. But again, we are confident.
I think,
but then nothing beats Nothing beats
Nothing beats
number
the next
one.
one,
And,
right?
we don't mean to laugh. We're laughing because we're laughing because of
I'm
something
laughing
else
out of
internally.
hope, right? I'm laughing out of hope, right?
Yeah.
But I think you should talk about.
We're laughing because we don't know what else to do when we're seeing these numbers. To be very honest, but again, like I said before, these brands. We are not saying these numbers to insult the vehicles. We're saying it because they're also great vehicles as well, and we feel bad. That's why we selected
numbers
these.
have nothing to do with the products, right?
with this one.
As we look at them, if you look at cars as products,
Yes.
all cars will have strengths, all cars will have weaknesses.
And
we're looking at just the numbers that the manufacturers have managed to sell.
Yeah.
It could be because of various factors, like we discussed earlier, new vehicles, new models being prioritized, right?
Correct. So you want to take number one in
number one. If you take the Nissan group, Nissan and Datsun together, they have degrown the most, right?
Yeah.
You have a negative 77% when it comes to growth, right? Over the Datsun Go, the Go Plus, and the Kicks. So all three put together, you've seen with the similar numbers, right? You're not looking at major
so
spikes
the
in
reason we
numbers.
took these averages is because all three of these vehicles have been selling exactly, maybe plus 10 or lower, but it's almost the exact same monthly average, which is why we're bringing in the Kicks, which might not even
be
come
the same
close.
vehicle, right?
not the same
same segment, right? But I think it's important to discuss this because just like how Tata has turned a new page, it's Nissan's time right now, right?
Yep.
And this and the recently launched Magnite.
And if you guys haven't watched our video on the Magnite,
watch the video on the
please watch
Magnite also.
that.
Yeah. This Magnite is going to change a lot of things for Nissan.
I absolutely believe that.
Right?
Yeah.
I think Nissan's already got a blockbuster in their portfolio right now, and therefore
Let me put it this way:
go.
I have two members in the family who've already booked it.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, and it
That's
just
brilliant.
launched.
Yeah.
They've already booked it. Yeah.
Right, so I hope to not see Datsun and Nissan in next year's list. I sincerely hope because
I don't think
feel
it'll be
they
there.
are
No way.
very underrated cars, amazing products,
Yeah.
just not hasn't convinced the buyer.
Look at the numbers here. Datsun Go, the Go Plus. First of all, the Go Plus, if you ask me, is a brilliant concept.
Absolutely.
I'm not talking about it's a station wagon, okay, for that price.
Correct.
And why I ask you this question, Vignesh, on a personal level, right? Because you're doing sales of cars day in and day out. The Datsun Go Plus, extremely high on practicality.
High on value at the
High
same
on
time.
value, okay. Lot of space. It's still a 5-seater.
Still a 7-seater. The
It's a
Go,
7.
sorry, the Go is a 5 and the Go Plus is a 7.
The Go Plus I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 7-seater. At what price?
It's significantly lower. So I'm sure you can get a Go Plus starting at around 6.5, right?
Yeah.
But
Or
that's amazing value.
It's
Now
amazing
the thing is, right? I feel Datsuns have underplayed themselves. It's like as if they haven't had the confidence to sell, because if you look at the market, I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about the underrated cars, right?
No, absolutely.
I'm personally passionate about the underrated
Which
cars.
is why we should do an episode
They are
on that.
superior when it comes to in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
There's not too much of compromise being done,
Yeah.
right? Which are okay. Some could be visible to you, but if you look at the cars as a product, not too much of a compromise, right? The Go and the Go Plus have good engines. It's a 1.2 petrol, right? In fact, even the Magnite has a 1 liter naturally aspirated petrol. This one's a 1.2. So therefore, they have actually packed in quite a good setup. It's just about sales, right? It's just about product appreciation.
To end 2020, what would you say is the most promising car of 2020? Just one. I'll give you one car. In all the segments put together, just one.
No, I think I'm just going by the impact this vehicle has created, right? I'm going purely because of
which
impact.
one?
No, I'm looking at the Nissan Magnite being my top influential cars, because it's done a lot of things. It's changed the way people think about a car. A person looking at a hatchback is now thinking compact SUV. A person looking at another compact SUV is thinking compact SUV at this price, giving so many features.
Right.
So it's sort of managed to convince a lot of people, saying that you can get all these at this price. I'm not talking just about the price. I'm talking about the amount of space you have, amount of value you get for your money, right? All it needs is a different outlook, right?
These are the cars that did not do great. but they are great cars. Okay, so that's the way I'd like to
That's
put it.
that's an amazing way to put it, Rajesh. In fact,
You know,
yeah.
so
Great
these are-
cars that didn't do too well,
but they are great cars,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So anyway, so thank you so much for watching,
Thank you
guys.
for
My
watching.
name is Rajiv from cargratings.com. Again, if you're a dealer, go to our website and we can make sure that we make your customers super happy.
And I'm Vignesh from trycarpal.com. We are a virtual dealership that can help you figure out which car to buy and buy it completely online.
Yeah.
Right? This is Garage 101.
And
thank you for watching.
from
and
Chennai
hearing.
Live, and until our next episode, we'll see you.